Lieutenant Samantha Mason, or Sam as everyone called her, was tired. She had been on patrol duty at the edge of the solar system for 20 days now. Nothing exciting ever happened this far out in space. Her small scout ship, the Starhawk, was designed for speed and stealth, not comfort. Sam sipped her coffee and checked the sensor readings again. The Kuiper Belt was a region of space filled with small icy objects beyond Neptune. Her job was to watch for any unusual activity. Mostly that meant tracking space rocks and making sure none posed a threat to Earth or its colonies. 6 more days, she muttered to herself. 6 more days, then I can go home. She was about to run another routine scan when something flashed on her radar screen. Sam sat up straight, suddenly alert. There was an object moving at high speed through the belt. It was too fast to be a natural object. Computer, identify the unknown object, Sam ordered. The computer beeped for a few seconds. Unknown object cannot be identified. No match in database, Sam frowned. That was strange. The computer knew every human ship, probe, and satellite. If it couldn't identify something, that meant, "It's not one of ours," she whispered. Her heart began to beat faster. First contact with an alien species was something humans had dreamed about for centuries. But no one expected it to happen during a routine patrol in the Kuiper Belt. Sam knew the protocol. She should report this to Earth Command immediately and wait for instructions. But as she watched the object on her screen, she noticed something odd. Its movement pattern was erratic. It would surge forward, then drift, almost like It's damaged, Sam realized. Protocol or not, Sam couldn't ignore a ship in distress. She guided the Starhawk closer to the unknown vessel. As she approached, she got her first real look at it. The alien ship was beautiful and strange. It was shaped like a teardrop, black as the space around it, but covered with purple lines that glowed and pulsed like they were alive. The ship was about twice the size of her own vessel. Sam opened a communication channel, not expecting much. "This is Lieutenant Samantha Mason of Earth Defense Force. Do you need assistance?" To her shock, the response was immediate in perfect English. "Human vessel, I require assistance. My life support systems are failing." The voice was unlike anything Sam had ever heard. It was melodic and smooth, with an odd echo that made it sound like multiple voices speaking at once. How do you know my language?" Sam asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "We have been observing your broadcasts for some time," the voice replied. "Please, my ship was damaged while escaping. I cannot repair it alone." Sam hesitated only briefly. "I'm sending you coordinates to dock with my vessel." A video feed suddenly activated on Sam's screen. She found herself looking at what appeared to be a humanoid figure, but one encased in a complex suit of armor. The armor was made of overlapping plates that looked like metal scales, with crystalline components at the joints that glowed with the same purple light as the ship. Only the being's eyes were visible through a narrow slit in the helmet, silver eyes with vertical pupils that reminded Sam of a cat's. "I am Lyra, scout of the Nix Confederation," the alien said. "Thank you for your assistance, Lieutenant Mason." Sam swallowed hard. "You can call me Sam. What happened to your ship, Lyra?" "I was pursued by a Drachnid warship," Lyra explained. Her voice remained calm, but those strange silver eyes narrowed slightly. "They hunt my kind across the stars. I managed to damage their tracking systems and escape through a quantum fold, but my ship sustained heavy damage in the process." "Drachnids?" Sam asked. "A warrior species that seeks to dominate all others," Lyra said. "If they tracked me to this system, your planet would become their next target." Sam felt a chill run down her spine. First contact and already talk of hostile aliens and interstellar war. This was far beyond her pay grade. But something about Lyra's calm demeanor made Sam trust her. "There's a small base hidden in a hollowed-out asteroid not far from here," Sam said, making a decision that would change the course of human history. "It's off the official maps. We can dock there and assess your ship's damage." "You would hide my presence from your commanders?" Lyra asked, sounding surprised. Sam nodded. "Until I understand the situation better, yes. If these Drachnids are as dangerous as you say, I don't want to trigger a panic before we have a plan." Lyra was silent for a moment. "That is unexpectedly wise. Thank you, Sam." The journey to the hidden asteroid base took just under an hour. Sam used that time to ask Lyra about her people, the Nix Confederation. Lyra explained they were a peaceful species dedicated to knowledge and exploration, with technology far beyond Earth's. "Why were you in our solar system?" Sam asked as they docked at the small secret base. "I was mapping the outer regions of your system as part of a standard exploration pattern," Lyra said. The Nyx seek knowledge above all else. We had not planned to make contact with humans yet. Your species is still young. The asteroid base was small, just big enough for both ships and some basic living quarters. It had been built as an emergency shelter and refueling station for Earth Defense Force patrols, but it was rarely used. Once both ships were safely docked, Sam helped Lyra transfer from her vessel to the base. The alien moved with a strange grace despite the bulky armor. Sam noticed that the purple lines on Lyra's ship matched similar markings on her armor. Can you breathe our air? Sam asked as they entered the base's main chamber. My armor filters and processes atmosphere to suit my needs, Lyra replied. But preliminary scans suggest your air would not be immediately harmful to me. Sam began activating the base's systems, bringing the lights up and starting the environmental controls. So how bad is the damage to your ship? Lyra moved to a viewport and looked back at her vessel. The quantum drive is severely damaged. Several hull breaches. Navigation systems compromised. It will take approximately 3 of your weeks to repair with the right materials. 3 weeks, Sam repeated, running her hand through her short brown hair. I'm supposed to report back in 6 days. I understand if you must alert your people to my presence, Lyra said. But I should warn you, if the Drachnids followed me even at a distance, your world could be in danger. Sam looked at the strange being standing before her. An alien, the first her species had ever encountered, asking for her trust. Every regulation said she should report this immediately. But something told her Lyra was being honest. I'll help you repair your ship, Sam decided, and I'll figure out what to tell Earth Command later. For now, let's see what supplies we have here and what we'll need for your repairs. As they began to inventory the base's resources, Sam couldn't help but wonder what Lyra looked like beneath that elaborate armor. But that seemed like a rude question to ask during a first meeting. There would be time for that later, she supposed. What Sam didn't know was how her simple act of compassion, helping a damaged ship rather than following protocol, would soon draw Earth into an interstellar conflict that had been raging across the stars for centuries, and how her connection with Lyra would ultimately determine the fate of humanity. 3 weeks passed as Sam helped Lyra repair her damaged ship. Each day they worked side by side, using parts from the asteroid base and materials Sam quietly requested in her supply reports. She had told Earth Command she was investigating an unusual cosmic phenomenon and needed to extend her mission. It wasn't exactly a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. Sam learned much about Lyra and her people during their time together. The Nyx were an ancient species that had explored the stars for thousands of years. They valued knowledge above all else and rarely interfered with developing civilizations like Earth. We prefer to observe until a species is ready for contact, Lyra explained as they worked on repairing her ship's navigation system. And when do you decide a species is ready? Sam asked, handing Lyra a tool that looked like a wrench but glowed with purple energy. When they show they can think beyond their own planet. When they demonstrate wisdom and compassion rather than just technological advancement. Lyra's silver eyes seemed to study Sam carefully. Individuals like you give me hope for your species. Sam felt her face grow warm at the compliment. Over these weeks she had grown comfortable around Lyra, despite never seeing what the alien truly looked like beneath her armor. The exoskeleton Lyra wore seemed to be partly technological and partly biological, with scales that shifted and adjusted based on her movements. One evening, as they sat in the small common area of the base eating dinner, Sam with her standard military rations, Lyra consuming some kind of nutrient gel through a port in her helmet, Sam decided to ask the question that had been on her mind. Do you ever take off your armor? I mean, is it something you wear all the time, or? She trailed off, worried she might have crossed a line. Lyra set down her nutrient container. The armor serves many purposes. Protection, life support, communication. But it is not permanently attached if that's what you're asking. I'm sorry if that was rude, Sam said quickly. I was just curious. Curiosity is valued among my people, Lyra replied. And no, it wasn't rude. I simply haven't removed it because I wasn't sure if my natural form would be comfortable for you to see, Sam smiled. I won't be scared if that's what you're worried about. I'm an explorer at heart. Different doesn't mean frightening to me. Lyra seemed to consider this. The plates around her face shifted slightly, revealing more of her silvery blue skin beneath. It had a faint glow to it like moonlight on water. You've shown remarkable trust, Lieutenant Mason, Lyra said after a moment. You haven't once demanded to know more about me or my species. You haven't treated me like a scientific curiosity or a potential threat. Sam shrugged. You needed help. That seemed more important than satisfying my curiosity. Curious what's under my armor? Lyra asked suddenly, her voice carrying an unexpected note of vulnerability. Sam looked at her, seeing the way the alien's eyes watched her intently. She chose her words carefully, sensing this was somehow important. I suspect it's not much different from what's under mine, a being trying to survive in a dangerous universe. Lyra went completely still. For a moment, Sam worried she had said something wrong. Then she noticed the purple lights on Lyra's armor were pulsing more rapidly, almost like a heartbeat. In 15 solar cycles traversing the stars, Lyra finally whispered. No species has ever responded that way. What do they usually say? Sam asked. They ask to see out of scientific curiosity, or they assume I'm hiding something threatening, or they simply show fear of the unknown. Lyra's voice had changed, becoming softer, less formal. None have ever suggested kinship. Sam didn't know what to say to that. She simply smiled and continued eating her dinner. But something had changed between them. A barrier had fallen. Later that night, as Sam was checking the repair progress on Lyra's ship, the alien approached her with purpose. There is something I must show you, Lyra said. Something I've not shared with any human. Sam set down her tablet. What is it? The real reason the Drachnids hunt my people. Lyra led Sam to her ship and placed her armored hand on a panel. A hidden compartment opened in the wall, revealing what looked like a small crystal cube. Inside the cube was what appeared to be a swirling galaxy in miniature, stars and nebulae moving in slow patterns. This is a fragment of the cosmic archive, Lyra explained. My mission wasn't just exploration. I was scouting potential safe worlds where we might hide portions of the archive. What is it? Sam asked, mesmerized by the swirling lights. The collective knowledge of thousands of civilizations that existed before yours, many now extinct. The Nix have preserved their science, art, history, and wisdom for millions of years. Lyra's voice grew grave. The Drachnids don't just want to conquer. They want this knowledge to dominate all life in the galaxy. Sam looked up from the cube to Lyra's silver eyes. And now they might come here to Earth. Yes. I didn't mean to bring this danger to your world. Lyra's armor shifted, and Sam realized the alien was showing distress. But if the Drachnids find even one fragment of the archive, they will gain knowledge that could help them find the others. Sam took a deep breath. This was much bigger than she had imagined. Not just a damaged ship and a lost alien, but an interstellar war over knowledge that could change the fate of countless worlds. We need to tell Earth Command, Sam said finally. Not everything, not yet, but enough that we can prepare. If these Drachnids are coming, my people need to know. Lyra nodded slowly. You're right. But be careful who you trust, Sam. The Drachnids can change their form. They can appear as members of other species. It's how they've infiltrated and destroyed so many civilizations before. A cold feeling settled in Sam's stomach. They could look human? Yes. They absorb and replicate DNA. A Drachnid could kill a human and take their place with all their memories and personality intact. Only specialized equipment can detect the difference. Sam sat heavily in a nearby chair. This changed everything. She couldn't just file a report. Who knew who might read it? She needed to speak directly with someone she trusted absolutely. I have a commanding officer, Admiral Palmer, Sam said after thinking. She's been like a mentor to me. If anyone will listen and keep this quiet until we have a plan, it's her. Lyra's armor plates shifted again, this time in what Sam had come to recognize as agreement. Then we will speak to your Admiral Palmer. But first, I must finish the repairs to my ship. If we need to escape quickly or if I need to warn my people, I must be able to travel. As they returned to their work with new urgency, Sam couldn't help but wonder what this meant for Earth's future. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, but it came with the knowledge that the stars held not just wonders, but terrible dangers as well, and somehow, Sam Mason, a simple patrol lieutenant, had placed herself and her entire planet right in the middle of it all. 2 months had passed since Sam first met Lyra. After much careful planning, they had managed to arrange a private meeting with Admiral Diane Palmer. To Sam's relief, the Admiral had listened to their story with a calm, serious expression, asking sharp questions but never once dismissing their claims. If what you say is true, Admiral Palmer had said, we need to prepare without causing panic. Now, A small team of Earth's best people worked in secret with Lyra. The team included Sam, Admiral Palmer, Special Agent Kimberly Kim Walsh from Global Security, Dr. Tina Rodriguez, who specialized in xenobiology, and Chief Engineer Vanessa Clark. They operated from a secure underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, far from prying eyes. Our long-range sensors have detected 3 unknown objects entering the solar system, Admiral Palmer announced during their morning briefing. They're using some kind of cloaking technology. But thanks to the adjustments Lyra helped us make, we can track them. Lyra stood at the display screen, her armored form somehow looking more at home among the humans after these weeks of collaboration. These are Drachnid scout ships, she confirmed. They move ahead of their main fleet to gather intelligence and place infiltrators. Infiltrators, Kim repeated with a frown. You mentioned they can look human? Yes, Lyra said. Drachnids can absorb DNA from other species and create perfect copies. They kill and replace key individuals to gather information and sabotage defenses before their main attack. The room went quiet as everyone absorbed this chilling information. How do we detect them? Dr. Rodriguez asked. Lyra touched a panel on her arm, and a holographic display appeared above the table. My people developed this detection method. Drachnid copies give off a unique radiation signature. It's subtle but detectable with the right equipment. Chief Engineer Clark studied the specifications. We can build these. Not many, but enough for key security checkpoints. Admiral Palmer nodded. Do it. In the meantime, we've detected unusual activity at our Antarctic research station. Normal communications, but something feels off. I should go, Sam said immediately. Not alone, Kim added. I'm trained for this kind of operation. Lyra turned her silver eyes to Sam. I will accompany you as well. You will need my knowledge of Drachnid behavior. And so, 3 days later, Sam found herself on a transport plane headed for Antarctica with Kim and Lyra. They had told the base they were bringing specialized equipment for extreme environment testing. Not a complete lie, since they carried Lyra's Drachnid detection devices. The Antarctic Research Station was a collection of white buildings against the endless ice. 20 scientists lived there, studying climate patterns and conducting experiments that required the unique conditions of Earth's southernmost continent. Dr. Megan Foster, the station director, greeted them at the entrance. Lieutenant Mason, Agent Walsh, welcome to the end of the world. She glanced at Lyra with obvious curiosity. And your colleague? Special consultant, Sam said smoothly. We'll need to set up our equipment immediately. Dr. Foster showed them to the quarters that had been prepared for them. As soon as they were alone, Lyra activated one of her devices. It hummed softly, displaying readings only she could interpret. 3 positive signals, she said quietly. 3 of your scientists have been replaced. Kim's hand moved to her concealed weapon. Which ones? I cannot tell from here. We must get closer to each individual. They decided to split up. Kim would check the East Wing laboratories, Lyra the main research area, and Sam would investigate the living quarters. They each carried a small version of the detection device that would vibrate if it sensed a Drachnid nearby. Sam moved carefully through the residential section, chatting casually with the scientists she encountered. The device remained silent until she entered the dining area. There she found Dr. Foster and 2 other scientists having coffee. As she approached, the device in her pocket began to vibrate strongly. Her heart racing, Sam excused herself and returned to their quarters. Kim arrived shortly after, her face grim. Found one in the biology lab, she reported. Dr. Chen, he was examining blood samples, probably looking for compatible human DNA to create more copies. Lyra entered last, moving with the silent grace that still surprised Sam despite their weeks together. The head of security has been replaced. This is worse than I feared. They've taken key positions. Sam filled them in on what she had discovered. Dr. Foster is one of them. That means they control access to all communications with the outside world. We need to neutralize them before they realize we know, Kim said. But how? There are 3 of them and 3 of us, but they're spread out across the facility. I have a suggestion, Lyra said. Drachnids communicate with each other through subtle electromagnetic signals. If we can disrupt those signals and isolate them from each other, we can deal with them one by one. The station's power generator, Sam realized. If we modify it to create the right kind of interference, what exactly? Lyra confirmed. That night, while most of the station slept, Sam and Lyra made their way to the generator room. Using components from Lyra's equipment, they modified the station's power system to emit a specific electromagnetic frequency. "This will not harm humans," Lyra assured Sam, "but it will disorient the drachnids and prevent them from communicating with each other." As Sam held a flashlight for Lyra, she watched the alien's careful movements. Even after all this time, she had never seen beneath Lyra's armor, though the alien had revealed more of her face as trust grew between them. They were just finishing the modifications when alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. A voice, Dr. Foster's, came over the intercom system. "Security alert. Intruders detected in the generator room. All security personnel report immediately." "They know," Sam said, drawing her weapon. "We need to get back to Kim." They raced through the corridors, but before they could reach their quarters, they encountered Dr. Foster and the security chief blocking their path. Both looked human in every way, but their eyes held a coldness that sent chills down Sam's spine. "The Knicks always meddle where they aren't wanted," Dr. Foster said, her voice suddenly different, deeper, with an odd resonance. "This planet would have been an easy conquest if you hadn't interfered." "Humans aren't yours to conquer," Sam replied, aiming her weapon. The security chief lunged forward with inhuman speed. Sam fired, but he dodged with unnatural reflexes. Lyra stepped in front of Sam, moving with equal speed. The drachnid and Lyra collided in a blur of motion. Sam turned to face Dr. Foster, who was changing before her eyes. The human appearance melted away, revealing a creature with gray skin, no visible nose, and eyes that were entirely black. Before the transformation was complete, Sam fired 3 times. The drachnid fell backward, a strange blue fluid seeping from its wounds. Turning back, she saw Lyra struggling with the security chief. The alien had Lyra pinned against the wall, clawing at her armor. Sam aimed carefully and fired, hitting the drachnid in the back of what she hoped was its head. It staggered, giving Lyra the chance to break free and deliver a powerful blow that dropped the creature to the floor. "Are you hurt?" Sam asked, rushing to Lyra's side. "My armor protected me," Lyra replied, but Sam could see that wasn't entirely true. One of Lyra's gauntlets had been torn away, revealing her hand for the first time. Sam stared in fascination. Lyra's hand was slender with 6 fingers, covered in shimmering scales that seemed to change color as she watched, currently a deep blue that Sam somehow knew indicated pain or distress. "Your hand," Sam began. "Later," Lyra said. "We must find Agent Walsh and the 3rd infiltrator." They found Kim in the biology lab, standing over the body of Dr. Chen. She had a cut on her forehead but was otherwise unharmed. "He almost got me," she admitted. "They're faster and stronger than humans." With the immediate threat neutralized, they gathered the remaining station personnel and explained the situation as best they could. Most were shocked and frightened, but they understood the need for secrecy. That night, as Sam helped Lyra apply a healing compound to the wound on her arm where her gauntlet had been torn away, she finally asked the question, "Why risk yourself for my people? You could have left once your ship was repaired. You didn't have to stay and fight." Lyra was silent for a moment, her silver eyes fixed on Sam's face. "Because you saw me as a person, not an alien," she replied quietly. That changed everything. Sam looked down at Lyra's exposed hand, watching the colors shift from blue to a gentle purple. "What do the colors mean?" she asked softly. "They reflect our emotions," Lyra explained. "My people communicate not just with words, but with colors and patterns." "And what does purple mean?" Lyra's eyes seemed to shine more brightly. "Trust," she said simply. "Deep trust." As they prepared to return to Earth with evidence of the drachnid infiltration, Sam knew that the real battle was just beginning. The scouts were just the first wave. More would come, but for the first time she felt that humanity might have a chance, not just because of Lyra's advanced technology, but because of the understanding that was growing between their 2 species. Sometimes, Sam thought, it wasn't the weapons or the technology that mattered most in war. Sometimes it was finding someone from across the stars who understood what it meant to be a person, regardless of what was under their armor. In the months that followed the Antarctica mission, Earth prepared for war in secret. A hidden base was established on the far side of the moon, away from curious eyes. There, ships from the Knicks Confederation gathered, answering Lyra's call for aid. Sam had been promoted to commander, and placed in charge of coordinating between Earth forces and their new alien allies. It was a job that kept her busy day and night, but she didn't mind. The fate of her planet depended on their success. The Nyx fleet will arrive within the week, Lyra informed Sam during one of their strategy meetings. 7 ships, each carrying technology that will help upgrade your defenses. Admiral Palmer nodded with approval. Excellent. The sooner we can prepare, the better. Also present at the meeting was General Olivia Harper, a stern woman with short gray hair and cold blue eyes. She had been brought into their secret group by the World Security Council. Despite Admiral Palmer's reservations, "I still believe we should be developing our own defenses," General Harper said, her voice sharp. "Relying too heavily on alien technology makes us vulnerable." "The Drachnids have technology centuries beyond yours," Lyra responded calmly. "Without our help, Earth would fall within days of their arrival." General Harper's lips thinned to a tight line. "And after the Drachnids are defeated, what then? Do the Nyx simply leave, or do we trade one alien master for another?" "The Nyx are not conquerors," Sam interjected, trying to keep her frustration out of her voice. This was an argument they'd had many times before. "They've been clear about their intentions from the start." "Indeed," Admiral Palmer agreed. "Let's focus on the immediate threat. Our intelligence suggests the Drachnids have already placed infiltrators in several key locations around the world." The meeting continued, with plans made for deploying the Nyx detection technology to major cities and military installations. Afterward, Sam and Lyra walked together through the underground base that had become their home. "General Harper does not trust my people," Lyra observed. Sam sighed. "She doesn't trust anyone. But she's a brilliant strategist, and we need her experience." Over these months, Sam and Lyra had become inseparable. They worked together, ate together, and spent what little free time they had in each other's company. Sam had come to recognize the subtle shifts in Lyra's armor that indicated her moods, and Lyra had learned to understand human expressions and gestures. More Nyx had arrived on Earth, though they kept themselves hidden from the general public. They worked alongside human scientists and engineers, sharing knowledge and technology. One of them, a scientist named Thara, had become a regular presence in their team. That evening, as they reviewed plans for a joint mission to intercept a Drachnid command ship, Lyra seemed distracted. "Is something wrong?" Sam asked when they were alone. Lyra's armor shifted in what Sam now recognized as hesitation. "There is something I wish to show you. Something important." She led Sam to her private quarters. Once inside, Lyra activated a security field that would prevent any surveillance or interruption. Then, to Sam's surprise, Lyra began to remove pieces of her armor. First came the gauntlets, revealing those 6-fingered hands with their color-changing scales. Then the arm pieces, showing slender limbs covered in the same iridescent scales. Finally, Lyra reached up and detached her helmet. Sam held her breath as she saw Lyra's face completely for the first time. Her skin was the same silvery blue as her hands, with scales so fine they almost looked like smooth skin. Where a human would have hair, Lyra had what looked like tendrils of energy that moved gently as if floating in water. Her eyes were larger than human eyes, entirely silver with those vertical pupils Sam had glimpsed before. "This is what I truly am," Lyra said softly. Her voice without the helmet sounded more musical, with subtle harmonics that no human voice could produce. "You're beautiful," Sam said honestly. There was an otherworldly grace to Lyra that took her breath away. Lyra's skin rippled with colors, gold and rose patterns that Sam had never seen before. "Thank you," she said. "Few outside my species have seen a Nyx without armor, but I wanted you to see me, to know who I truly am before—" She paused. "Before what?" Sam asked, suddenly concerned. "Before the coming battle. The Drachnids will not give up easily. There is something else you should know." Lyra walked to a small container and removed what looked like a data crystal. "This contains information about a weapon the Drachnids have developed. A planet killer." Sam took the crystal with a growing sense of dread. They would destroy Earth? If they cannot conquer it, yes. The Drachnids leave nothing for others if they cannot have it themselves. Lyra's skin darkened to a deep blue. "We believe they have hidden this weapon somewhere in your solar system, ready to use if their invasion fails." Sam felt cold fear settle in her stomach. "We need to find it. Destroy it before they can use it." "Agreed. But we must be careful. If the Drachnids suspect we know about the weapon, they might trigger it early." Sam studied the data crystal. "I'll take this to Admiral Palmer immediately." She needs to see this. Lyra nodded, her energy tendrils swaying with the movement. I trust her. But Sam, be careful who you share this with. Even among your own people. The warning stayed with Sam as she left Lyra's quarters. She understood what the alien was saying. There could be Drachnid infiltrators even within their own ranks. Despite all their precautions, the enemy was cunning. The next morning, Sam, Lyra, Admiral Palmer, and a team of their best people gathered to plan a mission to locate and neutralize the Drachnid planet killer. According to the intelligence Lyra had provided, the weapon was likely hidden somewhere near Jupiter. We'll need our fastest ship, Admiral Palmer said, and a small team. The fewer people who know about this, the better. I volunteer to lead the mission, Sam said immediately. General Harper, who had joined them midway through the meeting, frowned. Commander Mason, you're needed here to coordinate our defensive preparations. With respect, General, I know more about Nyx technology than anyone else on this base, Sam argued. And Lyra and I work well together. Before Harper could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red emergency lights flashed and the computer announced a security breach. What's happening? Admiral Palmer demanded, activating her communication device. Ma'am? A security officer's voice came through, sounding panicked. We've detected multiple Drachnid signatures inside the base. They've somehow bypassed our screening protocols. Lock down all sensitive areas, Palmer ordered, and initiate evacuation protocol Theta. Chaos erupted as they rushed to secure their command center. Sam stayed close to Lyra, both of them drawing weapons. General Harper organized security teams to sweep the base, her military training evident in her quick, precise commands. How could they get past our detectors? Sam asked Lyra as they moved through the corridors. They must have found a way to mask their signature, Lyra replied, her armor fully in place once more. The Drachnids are adaptable. They reached a junction where they needed to split up, Sam to help with evacuation, Lyra to secure their sensitive technology. As they prepared to part ways, Sam grabbed Lyra's armored hand. Be careful, she said. Lyra's silver eyes seemed to glow more brightly. You as well, Sam. Hours later, after the base had been secured and the infiltrators neutralized, Sam and the others gathered to assess the damage. 3 security personnel had been killed, and one of their scientists was missing, presumably taken by the Drachnids for information. What troubled Sam most, however, was the pattern of the attack. The infiltrators had targeted very specific areas, including the lab where they were developing the detection technology. This wasn't random, she told Admiral Palmer, as they reviewed security footage. They knew exactly where to go, what to target. Palmer's face was grim, which means they had inside information. A leak, Sam said, the implications sinking in. Someone in our group is feeding information to the Drachnids. Or is a Drachnid themselves, Palmer added quietly. The thought chilled Sam to the bone. They had been so careful with their screening protocols. If a Drachnid had managed to infiltrate their inner circle, no one was above suspicion, except perhaps Lyra and the other Nyx. As they prepared for the mission to Jupiter, Sam found herself watching everyone more closely. General Harper's constant questions about Nyx technology made her suspicious. But then, Admiral Palmer's insistence on handling certain communications herself also raised flags. The night before they were to depart, Sam met Lyra in a secure area of the base. I don't know who to trust anymore, she admitted. Trust yourself, Lyra said, placing a hand on Sam's shoulder. And know that whatever happens, my loyalty is to you first before even my own people. Sam looked into those alien silver eyes and saw sincerity there. Why? She asked. Why me? Because you saw beyond my armor from the very beginning, Lyra replied simply. You saw a person, not an alien threat. In all my years exploring the stars, I've never met anyone like you, Sam Mason. The moment was interrupted by an urgent call. Their ship was ready, and it was time to depart for Jupiter. As they walked toward the launch bay, Sam couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The traitor was still among them, still feeding information to the enemy. And as their ship lifted off from the moon base, heading into the darkness of space toward Jupiter, Sam wondered if they were flying straight into a trap. The journey to Jupiter took 3 days aboard the Starseeker, Earth's most advanced spacecraft enhanced with Nyx technology. Sam commanded a small crew: Lyra, Admiral Palmer, Special Agent Kim, Dr. Rodriguez, Chief Engineer Clark, and To Sam's displeasure, General Harper, who had insisted on joining the mission. "We should be approaching the coordinates," Sam announced, as the massive gas giant filled their view screen. Jupiter's swirling storms and colorful bands made a beautiful but alien landscape. "Sensors detect an artificial structure in orbit around the fourth moon," Chief Engineer Clark reported. "Callisto," Dr. Rodriguez supplied. "Interesting choice. It's the most distant of the large moons." Sam turned to Lyra. "Could that be the weapon?" Lyra studied the sensor readings. "Yes, the energy signature matches what we know of Drachnid planet killer technology." "We should destroy it immediately," General Harper said, her hand moving to the weapon's controls. "Wait," Admiral Palmer countered. "We need to be certain. If we trigger some kind of failsafe, we could activate the weapon instead of disabling it." Sam nodded. "We'll send a small team to investigate first. Lyra and I will go, along with—" "I'll go," General Harper interrupted. "I have extensive experience with explosive devices." Sam wanted to object, but Harper's expertise could be valuable. "Fine. Admiral Palmer will command the ship while we're gone." As they prepared for the mission, donning spacesuits enhanced with Nick's technology for protection, Sam pulled Lyra aside. "Keep an eye on Harper," she whispered. "I don't trust her." Lyra's silver eyes gleamed through her helmet. "Nor do I. There is something wrong about her reactions." The three of them took a small shuttle to Callisto's surface. The moon was covered in ancient craters, its surface a patchwork of ice and rock. The Drachnid facility was built into the side of a large crater, partially buried beneath the surface. "No external defenses," Harper noted as they approached. "Strange. They didn't expect anyone to find it," Sam replied. "This was meant to be their last resort." They docked with an airlock and entered the facility. Inside, it was dark and cold, with only emergency lighting casting eerie shadows. The architecture was angular and utilitarian, with none of the elegant design Sam had come to associate with Nick's technology. "The main control room should be this way," Lyra said, consulting a small device on her wrist. They moved carefully through the corridors, weapons ready. The facility appeared deserted, but Sam couldn't shake the feeling they were being watched. "How do we disable the weapon?" Sam asked as they walked. "The core must be removed," Lyra explained. "It contains a quantum singularity, what you might call a miniature black hole. Once removed, the containment field will collapse and the singularity will dissipate harmlessly." "And if the containment field collapses while the core is still in place?" Harper asked. "The singularity would expand briefly before collapsing completely, releasing enough energy to destroy a planet." They reached a large circular door marked with symbols Sam didn't recognize. Lyra studied them briefly before entering a code on a nearby panel. The door slid open with a hiss of escaping air. Inside was a vast chamber dominated by a central column of pulsing dark energy. Surrounding it were control consoles with displays showing data in an alien language. "That's it," Lyra said, pointing to the column. "The core is inside that energy field." As they approached the central column, General Harper suddenly raised her weapon, not at the device, but at Sam and Lyra. "Step away from the controls," she ordered, her voice suddenly different, with the same odd resonance Sam had heard from the Drachnid infiltrators in Antarctica. "Harper," Sam said, slowly raising her hands. "You're one of them." The general's face twisted into a cold smile. "Not just one of them, Commander. I lead them. The real General Harper died months ago." Sam's mind raced. How many of their plans had been compromised? How much did the Drachnids know? "Why bring us here?" she asked, trying to buy time. "You could have just activated the weapon." "Because the Nix have something we want more than this planet's destruction," the false Harper replied, glancing at Lyra. "The location of the cosmic archive. All that knowledge, all that power. We knew one of the caretakers was here." Lyra's armor shifted, plates locking tighter together in what Sam recognized as a defensive posture. "I would never reveal that information." "Not willingly, perhaps," Harper gestured with her weapon. "But we have ways of extracting information even from Nix." "You infiltrated our base," Sam realized. "You've been feeding information to your people all along." "Humans are so trusting," Harper sneered. "So willing to believe in allies and cooperation. It made my work simple." "And Admiral Palmer?" Sam asked, fearing the answer. "Still human as far as I know, though perhaps not for long." Harper's eyes narrowed. "Now, Lyra of the Nix, you will give me the coordinates of the archive, or I will kill your human friend and then activate this weapon." Sam looked at Lyra. seeing the alien's silver eyes widening with what she now recognized as fear. "Don't tell them anything," Sam said firmly. Harper stepped closer, pressing the weapon against Sam's head. How touching. The human and the alien united in defiance. But how long will that last when I start breaking bones? In that moment, Sam saw Lyra make a decision. The alien's armor began to shift, plates separating and retracting. Harper watched in fascination as Lyra's true form was revealed piece by piece. "You want to know what's under my armor?" Lyra asked, her voice taking on a harmonic quality without the helmet's filters. Harper's attention was fixed on Lyra, the weapon still pressed to Sam's head, but her focus divided. It was the opportunity Sam needed. She struck quickly, knocking Harper's arm aside and delivering a sharp blow to her throat. The drachnid disguised as Harper staggered back, gasping. Her human appearance began to ripple and change as her concentration broke. Sam drew her own weapon and fired 3 rapid shots. The drachnid fell to the floor, her form shifting between human and alien as blue fluid pooled beneath her. "Sam." Lyra rushed to her side. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine," Sam assured her, though her heart was racing. Quick thinking, distracting her like that. Lyra's exposed face showed colors shifting across her scales. Relief, Sam thought. It wasn't entirely a distraction. I wanted her to see what she could never understand. They turned their attention to the weapon. With Lyra's guidance, Sam carefully deactivated the containment field around the core and removed the small, dense object at its center. It was surprisingly small for something capable of destroying an entire planet. No larger than a softball, but incredibly heavy. "We need to get this back to the ship," Sam said, "and warn Admiral Palmer about Harper." They hurried back through the facility to their shuttle. As they approached the Starseeker, Sam tried to contact the Admiral but received no response. "Something's wrong," she said, a sense of dread growing. They docked with the ship and entered cautiously, weapons ready. The corridors were silent and empty. When they reached the bridge, they found Admiral Palmer and the rest of the crew tied up. Standing over them was Thara, the Nyx scientist who had been working with them for months. "Thara?" Lyra's voice was filled with shock. "What are you doing?" The other Nyx turned, and Sam immediately noticed something wrong with her eyes. They were darker, almost black, unlike Lyra's silver ones. "Not Thara," Sam realized aloud. "A drachnid." "Very perceptive, Commander," the false Thara said. "Just as General Harper was. We've been watching you all for some time, learning your weaknesses, your technologies." "How?" Lyra demanded. "Our detection methods can be fooled with enough study," the drachnid replied. "We've learned much about Nyx physiology, enough to create a convincing disguise." Sam kept her weapon trained on the infiltrator. "It's over. The planet killer is disabled. One of many," the drachnid said with a cold smile. "And our fleet approaches even now. This planet will fall with or without the weapon." "I don't think so," said a voice from behind them. Sam turned to see General Harper, the real General Harper, standing in the doorway. Her weapon aimed at the drachnid. Blood stained her uniform, but her eyes were clear and human. "The infiltrator on Callisto wasn't me," she explained, stepping forward carefully. "It was my aide. They replaced her weeks ago, keeping me under surveillance. I've been their prisoner until I managed to escape during the confusion of your departure." The drachnid disguised as Thara looked between them, calculating its odds. In that moment of hesitation, Lyra moved with incredible speed, striking the imposter with enough force to send it crashing into a control panel. What followed was chaos. The drachnid fought with inhuman strength, its disguise falling away to reveal its true form. Sam and Harper fired their weapons while Lyra engaged it directly. Finally, with a coordinated attack, they managed to subdue the creature. As they freed Admiral Palmer and the others, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. "Multiple vessels approaching," Chief Engineer Clark reported as she returned to her station. "Drachnid warships, at least 20 of them. And look," Dr. Rodriguez pointed to another reading. "More ships coming from the other direction." "The Nyx fleet," Lyra confirmed. "They've arrived just in time,"